Welcome back to Liz and Sandro's Marketing Podcast. We're the podcast that helps your small business stay on top of the ever-changing digital marketing landscape. We talk social media, SEO, email marketing, reputation management, and so much more. Today, Liz is going to tell us why good website hosting is so important.
So we've always pursued what I will now call budget hosting. We had used one company for years, probably 5 or 6 years, and we were really happy. We never had any major issues. Support was always very helpful until a little over a year ago. And oh my gosh, it was one issue after another. I mean, I could go on, but it was not good. And around that same time, we also started working with a new web developer Dan. I thought I knew a lot about hosting, but wow, I mean, he spent a lot of time really educating me on the differences between budget hosting and some of the, more expensive options, but why they are a larger investment and why it really matters. For some of the newbies out there, let me clarify a couple things that may be new terms for you. You've got your domain name that you need to purchase. So www.hirschpr.com, that's your domain name. Your site needs a home and it's going to live on website hosting. So that's really what I want to dig into today, the companies and the types of service that they provide. So truthfully, I didn't think too much about the business model for these hosting companies. I just wanted to get my clients set up on good hosting and, onto our marketing services, because that's really what my focus was. But when you're paying $3-5 a month for hosting, that's not where these companies are making their money. It's not going to be profitable for them. It's the upselling opportunities that are profitable. That's where they're making their money. So, for example, the big thing right now is SSL certificates. A lot of these budget hosting companies are selling SSL certificates. I think I'm seeing them for $80 a year now. It used to be a lot cheaper, honestly. Great way to generate some more revenue for your company. But, I'm working with a hosting company now that just has that built in. It's so simple. It's one less thing I have to think about and worry about. The other reason why these budget hosting companies the service is so cheap is because they are just overcrowding their servers. They're trying to consolidate resources. That ultimately results in performance issues. There have been so many times where I'm trying to get into a client's website, doing some work, and it just won't load. Wait an hour, everything's fine. Clearly some other site on that server was hogging a lot of the resources and slowing down my attempts to make edits. So that can be very frustrating. The other thing I will point out before I get into some of the nitty gritty of why good hosting is so important, I want to point out that my focus today is on WordPress websites. That's, what we build. So my recommendations and my thoughts on this are about managed WordPress hosting. There are obviously other website platforms out there, and I would encourage you, if you are working with another type of platform, find the best hosting for that platform. And one of the other big things that I've learned as Dan was educating me is that a lot of these companies will say that they are managed WordPress, but they're really not. And we'll get into some of the reasons why that's not always a good thing. So why is good hosting so important? I've got 4 reasons.
I want to know because for my last event, we found GoDaddy $12 for 1 year. So $1 a month hosting.
$1? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
you had a coupon code.
We had a coupon code, but no SSL certificate, no, very bare bones. And it was down a few times because other websites were probably sharing that server. So I thought all hosting was the same. You're teaching me a lot. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, it's all good. So first and foremost, I'll start off with support. Having a hosting company that's going to provide you good support is so important. From where I'm sitting, I get an email from a client, frantic, something's wrong with my website. And, they seem pretty angry and, I get a little panicky. And I've learned that just a simple, hey, I'm working on this, I'll get right back to you. The next email is, okay, great, thanks, 5 exclamation marks. So it's really frustrating to be attempting to work with a company that doesn't have good support, to be sitting on hold for up to an hour. That's really frustrating. I want someone who's going to get on the phone quickly, answer my questions. I don't even care if the issue is going to take another 24 hours to resolve. I just want to know that someone is there to help me. And again, if you are paying $1 a month for your hosting, what kind of service are you going to get with that? Probably nothing helpful. Be willing to invest a little bit more in your hosting, and I think you will see a world of difference in the support that you get from these companies. The other reason why good website hosting is so important is because you want good performance. And there are a lot of nuances to what I mean by performance. There's some really technical components to that I won't get into in this episode. I could go on and on. But again, I will say if it's managed WordPress, that hosting environment is designed specifically for WordPress, which is so important. We have all found ourselves searching for something, clicking on a website that takes way too long to load. What are you doing? You're clicking the back button. You just don't have the patience to wait around. Good performance, good site speed. This matters.
In SEO, it matters. It's
matters in SEO too.
Yeah, Google likes a speedy site. It's got to load in under 3 seconds. The faster, the better. The better rankings you'll get.
So yeah, if you want to avoid frustrated customers, get into a hosting plan and with a hosting company that places an emphasis on speed and reliability for your website. The other thing that I think is really important is automatic backups. Now, a good hosting provider should include this for no additional charge. With a lot of these shared hosting environments, budget hosting companies, typically these backups are not included. And again, it's another way for them to make money. Something very simple, but I do think, if there's ever an issue, it makes a big difference. And finally, security. This is another area where I could go on and on about, but I'll give this example. I was listening to a webinar a couple weeks ago. It was actually about insurance. They were talking about data breach insurance and different security issues. And he gave the example of the Target hack, which most people know about, and many of us were affected by. What I actually didn't realize was the hackers didn't go for Target directly. They actually gained access through a vendor. I think it was an HVAC vendor. They got into, their network or their site, whatever it was, and then they were able to access Target. So his takeaway was that don't think that just because you're a small business, you're not a target. Actually, hackers are targeting much smaller sites looking for potential access to larger companies that you may be doing business with. So I take security very, very seriously, even if you think you're just some, uber small mom and pop business, no one's ever going to bother me. Like, no, you can't say that now. Like I said, hackers are going after smaller and smaller companies. So, like I said, there are many more benefits to picking good hosting companies. I picked 4 of the biggest ones that I always point out to customers. I could go on and on. We can always do a second episode if you guys are interested in more details. But yeah, those are the 4 big reasons why I think you need to seriously consider investing in better website hosting.
So once my $1 a month expires, I'll look at maybe $2 a month hosting. What's the average price for hosting or good hosting?
Dan gave me a great example when we started really digging into this. He said that these budget hosting companies have really conditioned us to only want to spend a couple bucks a month on hosting. But if you're an established business that relies on your web presence, you should have no trouble investing $20, $30, $40 a month in good hosting. And if you're an e-commerce site and you need more resources, you're going to have a lot of shoppers on your site, you need that extra bandwidth, you should have no trouble investing $100 a month. That should be nothing.
Yeah, I have a friend or just met someone, he sells his own web hosting. He has his own servers, and he told me he charges $40 a month for hosting. And I was shocked because I come from the $1 a month plan, obviously. And I said, well, what do you get for $40 a month? And he said, what do you get? You don't get hacked.
Yeah, and if he is keeping everything really secure, oh my gosh, that's absolutely worth $40 a month. So honestly, I am getting some pushback from clients. I'm encouraging everyone to move away from the existing hosting that we've got. I'm trying to get everybody on Flywheel. There is some pushback, which is frustrating, but I'm just, again, really trying to reiterate the fact that we're going to get better security, good performance, and good support. Like, all of these things really matter if you're depending on your website. So there's going to be a lot of education involved. I have, I think I told Sandra, I've got like a 30 slide deck that I'm sharing with clients and going through. It's got a lot of comparisons and really gets into the nitty-gritty of the two platforms that I'm recommending now. One I mentioned, Get Flywheel, which I really like. The other one is Kinsta. Kinsta is, again, more for sites that are larger, something like an e-commerce site that's going to get a lot of traffic. It's really about finding the best platform that's right for you and staying as far away as you can from those budget hosting sites.
I'll be out $9 if I switch now, but maybe it'll be worth it to switch over to Flywheel.
Totally worth it. And so Flywheel is where our podcast website is hosted, by the way.
TheMarketingPodcast.net?
Yes.
Great.
I think for a hot minute we were looking at GoDaddy, and I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
So and we haven't had any issues.
And we have an SSL certificate. Yeah.
Built in. I love
we
it.
didn't have to link it up or anything. Yes. And one last thing, Liz. So if I have Squarespace or Wix or Weebly, I don't get asked for hosting.
No, you don't, because that's built in. That's part of what that platform is providing.
So I'm paying $20 a month for Squarespace, and that includes hosting for that.
Yeah, the site platform, the ability to build it and do what you need to do, and the hosting. Yeah, and you know what? I don't do a ton with Wix, Weebly, or Squarespace. You know, WordPress is really our area of expertise, so I actually can't speak too much to their hosting. You know, what their uptimes are. I'm not sure, but you know, if you are at that stage where you are considering a Wix, Squeebly. Yes. If you are at a point where you're considering a Wix, Weebly, or Squarespace, do a little research into what their hosting entails and how reliable it is. I actually don't know.
Great. Thanks so much, Liz. You answered a lot of questions, things I certainly did not think about, and I'm glad you insisted we go with Get Flywheel or something other than GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to Liz going, look, Liz, GoDaddy has...
He was so excited.
$1 a month.
I'm like, no, absolutely not. I won't allow it.
Yes. So thanks for steering me the correct way. Thank you for listening. You will find us wherever you find your favorite podcast, including iTunes and Google Play. If you like what you hear, we would love a review. You'll also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And if you have a question, we'd love to hear it. You can send us an email and we'll answer it on the air, give you a link back and a shout out. Thanks again for joining us. We will see you next time.